Alright, you guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be making a video comparing the iPod Touch 1st generation and the iPod Touch 4th generation. The iPod Touch 4th generation is in the blue case just for future reference, and I'm going to get started by showing you some cosmetic differences. There is the volume toggle, or the volume rocker on the iPod Touch 4th generation, absent on the 1st generation. They stuck with a metallic back which scratches and smudges instantly, which I don't really agree with, but obviously they have a reason for it. The Wi-Fi antenna is now gone from the 4th gen. It's been in every previous generation. I'm not really sure what they did with that. On the bottom you still have the standard 30-pin dock connector and the 3.5mm headphone jack. However, on the iPod Touch 4th generation there's a separate speaker grill. There is no speaker at all on the iPod Touch 1st generation. And there is the addition of a camera and a mic on the back and a camera on the front, which the 1st generation does not have at all. So the first thing I'm going to do is power them down so you can get an idea of how fast each one powers down. It's kind of hard to do. There we go. Pretty good. So the 4th gen's already powered down and the 1st gen's still going. Alright, so now logically we will power them back on. Just a warning, the 1st gen takes a very long time to turn on. Okay, so there they go. Fourth gen is usually pretty fast, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute. Alright, so the 4th gen's powered on. And the 1st gen is still going. So you could already be on the 4th gen, browsing the web, playing some games, whatever you want to do. Another thing to note is that I got my iPod Touch 1st generation in, I believe it was early 2008 for $400, 16 gigabyte, and it doesn't have any features. It doesn't have a camera, it doesn't have speakers, it's slow as anything. And then the 4th gen, 32 gigabyte, double the memory as the 1st gen, cameras, updated RAM, gyroscope, all these new features, and it was $100 cheaper. And I just find that ridiculous. Also the Retina display, as you can see, it looks very nice. Probably can't tell over camera, but it does look very nice. Alright, so the 1st gen is finally on. Probably took about 2 minutes, which is a lot. You should be noticing this, that the iPod Touch 1st generation takes forever to connect to Wi-Fi there, finally. Alright, so the first test we're going to do is we're going to load my YouTube page. There it is, loaded up. It's in my favorites, and we're going to get it up on here too. Alright, there it is, and we're going to get them off at the same exact time. Alright, there they go. And the 4th gen is already done. And the 1st gen is done. So, pretty close. 4th gen was noticeably faster though. Alright, now we're going to go on to, let's say, technobuffalo.com. Buffalo. Alright, now let's get it going. 1, 2, 3. Alright, and the 4th generation is done. One thing to mention is that the iPod Touch 4th generation is using the Apple A4 chip, clocked at 1 gigahertz, which is a pretty fast processor. And the 1st gen is still going. It has most of the content loaded, but alright, there, now it's done. Alright, And now we're gonna open some apps. Let's do Doodle Jump, I guess. Make sure that the multitasking is closed out so the iPod Touch first generation doesn't have an unfair advantage. Okay. So games, Doodle Jump. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Fourth generation is done. Alright, first gen is done. Has problems closing apps too, as you can see. Let's try flight control. Oh, hold on, let me just close the multitasking. One, two, three. Fourth generation is done. And the first generation is done. Alright, now let's load the App Store, a pretty commonly used app on most people's iPhones, iPod Touches. Alright, 1, 2, 3. And the fourth generation is done. And now let's see that with multitask on the fourth generation. It's really fast. Multitasking is a really nice feature. And another thing to mention about the devices is that the latest update you can get on the first gen is actually, I believe it's back in the 3, so you can't even get the newest software on the new iPod Touch, so you're going to miss out on Game Center, you're going to miss out on a lot of other features. And the fourth gen has FaceTime right here, and it also has the camera. So, yeah, I mean, obviously the fourth gen is a much better option. Still, the first gen, it's still working though. I'm surprised after so many years it's still working pretty well, but it's noticeably slower, so definitely get the fourth gen if you have the choice.